that I don't think he had any idea of what was in store for him. I mean, he had no clue that the solution of one problem is merely the creation of another one. I mean, don't we all think that we can manage two things, one being work and the other being time?
But you must be as frightened as I am of death.
Whenever we think about time, we imagine something that is infinite. And when we think about work, it's something we get done with, right? It is finite in every sense of the word. If you do a good job at something, it ends up creating more work. If you do a bad job at something, it ends up creating more work. Now, if you think about it, it is the work that is infinite. Now, the question is, when does the future actually arrive?
Maybe I could give you a thought. What if some demon were to say to you that this life, as you now live it and have lived it in the past, you would have to live once more, but innumerable times more. There will be nothing new in it. Every pain, every joy, every unutterably small or great thing in your life would just return to you. The same succession, same sequence, again and again, like an hourglass of time. Imagine infinity. Consider the possibility that every action you choose, Yosef, you choose for all time. Then all unlived life would remain inside you. Unlived throughout eternity.
I turned 28 this year, and as I near the close of my 20s, my salvation lies in the intensity with which I lived them. But my sole regret is that I wasn't intense enough. Maybe it's pop culture, or the rate at which the world is changing, or the fact that your past is filled with things you could have done. I look at all these other people and see that so many of them have accomplished so many of their goals by the time they are 30. Life is starting to feel a lot like the battle between Kronos and Kairos. In Greek mythology, Kronos represents the father time and carries with him a scythe symbolizing death. My mission is to kill time, and time's mission is to kill me. Kronos represents external time, the night and day, weeks, months and years. Then there is Kairos, carrying a weighing scale, representing the balance between opportunity and risk. Kairos represents internal time, the subjective clock that tells us the right time to do something or to proceed with caution. Our subjective sense of time competes, races, and sometimes even overtakes objective time. The crisis of turning 30, navigating between quarter life and midlife. Every moment, if you think, is a battle between perceiving it as good news or bad news. As anyone would do in such a situation, I decided to go to my village with my younger cousins because I needed a break from all the soul searching that I was doing. Well, as it turns out, my brothers are just as clueless as I was in my early 20s. There is a certain kind of atemporalis that plagues all of us. Doesn't the future always seem like something that is going to happen rather than something that is actually happening? I mean, if you think about the future, let's say the blockchain technology, we immediately project our thinking onto this hypothetical time field, several degrees removed from our actual experience. Yet when the future actually does arrive, let's say when ChatGPT was released, there was a slight buzz, people were shocked for a few months, but we immediately embedded it onto our present moment as if it was already expected. Every single time that I've visited my village in the past, I've noticed this weird phenomena. It's almost like time kind of slows down here. Perhaps it is because it is so cut off from town, or this place has its own sense of narrative time. Like always, I've noticed that every time I visit this place, I get a sort of newer perspective on life, though not always a comfortable one. The present moment, it seems, is like an anesthetic, manufactured to maintain the illusion that the future isn't already happening. Isn't this the task of marketers anyway? To give us the future in the most easy to digest chunks, so we don't get knocked out by it. The present moment almost always feels like somewhere in between uncomfortable and neutral. Nothing's really happening, yet everything is. It's nauseating, yet stable. I guess that is exactly what Marshall McLuhan meant when he said, "We look at the present through a rear-view mirror. We march backwards into the future." The futurists, the experts we think are going to save us from this existential dread, are going through the same amount of pukishness of the present moment like the rest of us. The ones with all the answers appear to be more deluded. Our subjective realities have interwoven with this manufactured normalcy of the present moment. Your news feed will make you sad one moment and happy in another. You can put events in other people's calendars and other people can encroach on yours. One moment the world is falling apart, and next our faith in humanity is restored. At least to me it seems like Kairos has won. Perhaps my feeling anxious is justified. Perhaps this veil of normalcy is to be lifted once and for all. Anxiety maybe is the only emotion that does not deceive. Everything else feels a little synthesized. It's difficult, but I must embrace this uneasiness, this discomfort, this memory of nihilism. It's disorienting, but it's at least honest. Well, to be honest, all we have is this moment. Yet, it may be a little uncomfortable, but if you don't pay attention, you could lose it. As Kurt Vonnegut famously said, "If this isn't nice, I don't know what is." As you embark on this journey of living the creative life, of entrepreneurship, of being an artist, you will certainly face situations that will shake your naive optimism, and you will slowly but surely close yourself against the world. This is exactly where we shouldn't give up. Why, you ask? Because it is precisely these moments that will throw light on the parts that were long hidden, waiting to be healed. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to revisit your inner self. Let all those high walls you've built throughout your life to avoid pain, ridicule, or judgment be demolished. And once you are willing to acknowledge yourself, you will finally be ready and equipped to face an even bigger challenge. We started on this path because of the taste of that sweet freedom. Now we've realized that the true price of freedom is pain. But it's beautiful, isn't it?